Hello, this is Yaakov Kronenberg from Jerusalem, and tonight we're going to start a new series of classes where we're going to talk about Taurus on the ascendant and Venus in the different houses. Tonight we'll start with an overview of the ascendant in Taurus. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac. It's an earth sign. It's probably the most practical of all the signs of the zodiac. It's also probably one of the most feminine signs of the zodiac. It's the opposite, I guess, of Aries. Aries is the first sign. Taurus is the second sign. In Aries, the sun is exalted. In Taurus, the moon is exalted. So one is the exaltation of the masculine, and then the moon is the exaltation, Taurus is the exaltation of the moon, the feminine. And so it's known as being it's very grounded, very down to earth, very much connected with the earth. Taurus is very settled in their ways. They're very fixed. It's of all the signs, it's probably the hardest sign to change. They're tremendously stiff-necked. You can't get them to do anything they don't want to do. The only thing you can do is threaten to take away their money, because Taurus is connected with the second house. It's the second sign, and it's given rulership over the second house in the zodiac. And the second house is the house of wealth, of possessions. So again, a person who has Taurus on the ascendant is going to be very important for them, financial security, physical financial security. They always want to know they have a shelter over their head, and they have money in the bank, and they really have a need for this financial security. When you have Taurus on the ascendant, is going to make your horoscope connected with the second house. It's a sign of bankers. Bankers all have, for the most part, they have Taurus on the ascendant, because the bankers are the most conservative of the people who deal with money. Is Taurus on the ascendant you don't usually find in speculations. Right? The Taurus is they're like the bankers. They make you. Well, I guess today the bankers really aren't Tauruses anymore, because all the banks brought down America. The bankers turned into gamblers in America, and so it didn't work, right? So that's why you like a real Taurus on the ascendant, because the Taurus is on the. You really like a real Taurus for a banker, because the Tauruses, they don't do anything that's dangerous at all. They like to do things where they're guaranteed making money, and so the Tauruses, they usually make the best bankers, but not the best speculators. So you see, when the banks started to speculate, they went under, because the Tauruses don't know what they're doing in that area. They're just too, they don't want to lose. And if you don't want to lose, it's hard to make. But they came out okay, because they caused other people to lose and not themselves. They were too big to fail. In any case, let's get back to the main topic that we're talking about again, Taurus on the ascendant. And Taurus on the ascendant is connected with the sign of, with the planet of Venus. Venus rules Taurus. And so Venus is the planet of beauty, of love, of autistics, right? The people they have good voices. People that got Taurus rising, they tend to have good voices, because the second house is connected to the throat, and so they're going to have good voices, and it's Venusian, so it's nice to have a Venus rising. It's considered one of the good ascendants. Remember, we consider the two best planets Jupiter and Venus. And so ascendants that are connected to Jupiter and Venus, they tend to be considered very fortunate, because it's nice to have your chart ruled by a planet that's a good planet. Right? So the best signs, for example, Pisces and Sagittarius, which are ruled by Jupiter, and Taurus and Libra, which are ruled by Venus. They tend to be the better ascendants because they tend to bring good fortune. So, in any case, though, it's very important for the Taurus to have love in their life, right? They're Venusian. They tend to have a pleasure-oriented, easygoing type of lifestyle. They like to have the good life. You know, they want to have good food and good wine, and because all the Venusians, they tend to be one of their problems. You know, if you go into the problems of the different ascendants. So one problem of the Taurus ascendant is laziness. It's a very fixed sign, and sometimes it's very hard to get them motivated. They tend to be a little bit lazy. And also they tend to go after the pleasures because it's connected to the side of Venus, right? And it's also a planet, like we said in the beginning, connected to the moon by a moon being exalted in Taurus. So there's a big imagination there, big unconscious, strong unconscious needs, and because it's connected with the moon and connected with Venus, they want the good life, they want the pleasures of this world. So that somehow they tend to become, let's say, too pleasure oriented. Sometimes they become. They go too much after the pleasures of life, and that can bring them into trouble. Right? They want too much of the good life. So, and whenever you go too much of the good life, it tends to take you away from your spiritual goals in life. It takes you away from the spiritual, and so that's a problem for the Taurus with their heavy earth nature and the Venus ruling them. That they're just too much connected to the good life, to have the best food, the best drinks, the best love, the best everything of this world, and it can lead them away from the true goals of life sometimes. So what else can we say about the Taurus? So we said again, to summarize, Taurus is connected to the second house, the house of money. People also say it's connected, just like it's connected to how much money you have, somehow it's how much possessions, also connected to your self-worth, a person's self-worth, what they think of themselves, and it's connected to their speech, because by the second house it rules the speech, the neck, the throat, all those areas. So a person has a bad afflicted ascendant or afflicted Venus. We'll talk about that it could harm those parts of the body. And again, we said it's a very feminine ascendant, very fixed by nature, very cautious, very conservative. One of the most conservative, cautious signs of the zodiac, and all in all, it's a nice sign, because again, like we said, it's ruled by Venus, and the planet in exaltation is the moon, and so it's considered a nice sign. Especially, it's a nice sign more for a woman, I think. You know, just like we said, the Aries, a man feels more comfortable in male signs. A woman feels more comfortable in feminine signs. I think this is an excellent sign for women. It gives them really, they feel very, very feminine. It's one of the most feminine signs of the zodiac, and it's going to give them a lot of femininity. And just like for a male, having an Aries rising will give him a lot of masculinity. And so that's a general introduction to the Taurus ascendant. And next time we'll start to go through Venus in the different house. And I thank everybody for listening.